Welcome to Crochet with Diane. Boy, have I got a treat for you today. The Winter Sky Shawl. Hi guys, my name's Diane and welcome to my channel. I've got a beautiful shawl for you today. Here's the colours, it's folded up. I want to just quickly show you just how beautiful this is. It's made a really large shawl. I'm not sure I can even get it all in the camera. There we go. I'll just throw it around my shoulders. And I love the colours, and because of the colours I've called it Winter Sky, and I'm not sure if you can see all of this beautiful. The stitches are really simple. I'd love you to give this a try. I'll show you the wool that I've used, and let me just isn't it gorgeous just to wrap yourself around in the winter? Love it. If you want to learn how to make it, keep watching. So here is the beautiful yarn that inspired me to make this Winter Sky Shawl. And I've took the label off one of them so you can see. And you can see just why I fell in love with all of these beautiful colours. With the bright blues into the darker blues, a little bit of green, lilacs and some bright whites, and it just reminds me of a winter's bright sunny winter's day with the bright clouds and the blue sky. You'll need, if you're making the shawl the size that I've made, which measures 60 inches long by 30 inches wide, you'll need all 4 balls of this wool, and it's by Papatia Batik Yarns. I will leave a link in the description for you so that you can take a look. There's all sorts of different colours, and we'll also be using today a 6.0 millimeter crochet hook. Okay, let's get started with this shawl. So to start, make your slip knot. And we're going to make our foundation chain in any multiple of 5 plus 3 when you have reached the length that you want your shawl to be. If you're making the same size as the one that I've made, go ahead and make 175 chains. If not, you make any size you like, but do your foundation chain in any multiple of 5. So go ahead and pause this video and make your foundation chain, and I'll meet you there. So once you've reached the length that you want your shawl to be, we're then going to add 3 chains. Okay, so we're ready for row 1. And for row 1, we're going to place 2 double crochets into the 4th chain from the hook. In the UK, this would be a treble crochet. So count back, not this one on the hook, 1, so 1, 2, 3, 4, yarn over, hook in, yarn over, pull up a loop, then yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. And we're going to go straight ahead and put another double crochet into that same stitch. So yarn over, hook into that same stitch, yarn over, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. Then we're going to chain 2. And then in the very same stitch, we're going to place another 2 double crochets. So in the same stitch, put in another 2 double crochet stitches. All in that same stitch. There we go, that's what it should look like. Then we're going to skip 4 chains. So don't count the one we've just worked. Count 4 chains, 1, 2, 3, 4. And in the next one, check that again, 1, 2, 3, 4. And in the 5th one, so you've completely skipped 4 chains. We're going to do that again. We're going to place 2 double crochets, so yarn over, put your hook in, make a double crochet stitch, and in that same stitch place a second double crochet stitch. Then chain 2, and in the same stitch put another 2 double crochet stitches. So back into that same stitch, double crochet and another double crochet. There we go. So we're creating some little shell V-stitches. I'm not sure if there's a name for this particular stitch. It's like a cross between a shell stitch and a V-stitch. So we continue the same way. We're going to skip 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and in the next one, place a double crochet. And straight away place a second double crochet in the same stitch. Okay, then chain 2, and then 2 more double crochets into the same stitch. There we go. So we're going to repeat this quite simply all the way along row 1. Skip 4 chains. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and in the next, yarn over, you hook in and make a double crochet, and then another double crochet in the same stitch, then chain 2, and place 2 more double crochets into that same stitch. Okay, so that's what your work should look like, and carry on now all the way across your foundation chain there, skipping 4 chains in between and placing in your little V shell stitches there. And I will meet you as we're approaching the end of the row. So pause the video here, make your way along the row. So we're approaching the end of the row and you should have 4 stitches left. And this is what your work should look like all the way along your row 1. So we have 4 stitches left and we've just placed our last shell V-stitch. So I'll put in my last double crochet to finish that one. Okay, so to finish this row, we simply place 1 double crochet into the last stitch. Find your very last stitch, pop your hook in and make 1 double crochet stitch. And that's how you finish row 1. So now we're going to move on to row 2. So for row 2, we're going to chain 2 and turn our work, and straight away we're going to find this chain 2 space that's making the shell V stitch. So we skip this stitch, and this one, and we're going straight into the chain 2 space, and we're going to make 2 double crochet stitches. So yarn over, hook into that chain 2 space there, make your double crochet, and then another double crochet into the same space, then chain 2, and in the same space place another 2 double crochet stitches. So as you can see, we're placing the shell V stitches on top of each other. So in this space here, in between the little shell V stitches, we're going to place a half double crochet stitch. And in the UK, this would be a half treble crochet stitch. And we're going to work it just into the space underneath. So yarn over, put your hook into the space underneath, grab your yarn and pull up a loop. You've got 3 loops on your hook, yarn over, pull through all 3 loops, and that's your half double crochet. And then straight away we're going to make another shell V stitch into this space here on top of the little shell V stitch from the row below. So yarn over, hook in and make a double crochet, and another double crochet, then chain 2, and in the same space place 2 more double crochet stitches. There we go. And we're over to the next space in between the little shell V stitches again here. We're going to place our half double crochet stitch. So yarn over, hook into the space underneath, pull up a loop, yarn over and pull through all 3 loops. And this is how we're going to repeat all the way along. I'll just show you one more time. So we've just done our half double crochet. Now we're going to move over to our chain 2 space here and place 2 double crochet stitches. Okay, then chain 2, and in the same space place 2 more double crochet stitches. Okay, and then in the space, this space here, place a half double crochet stitch. So repeat all the way along this row, placing your next shell V stitch into the chain 2 space, and then in between the little shell V stitches place a half double crochet. Work all the way along this row and I'll meet you as we're approaching the end of the row. So pause this video and I'll meet you as we are approaching the end of this row. So here we are approaching the end of row 2. I've put the last shell V stitch in here, and to finish the row, we've finished the row with a half double crochet into that turning chain here. You've got the 2 legs 2 legs of the V-stitch here, and then you'll have a turning chain here. So yarn over, put your hook straight into that space and make a half double crochet to finish the row. There we go. Now we're going to repeat that row again. So I'll show you again how to start the row. So chain 2, 1, 2, and turn your work. And straight away you'll see the chain 2 space in your little shell V-stitch here. We're going to work straight into that space there, putting in another shell V-stitch, which is 2 double crochet stitches, then chain 2, and then 2 double crochet stitches into that same space, okay, so you see we've put another shell V-stitch on top of them, the other one. And here you see you've got your half double crochet from the row below. So what we're going to do is we're going to put another half double crochet into the top stitch of that half double crochet from the row below. I'll show you what I mean. Yarn over this stitch here, so you've got your half double crochet, put your hook into that stitch there, pull up a loop and make a half double crochet. Okay, then skip over to your next chain 2 space, yarn over and make your next 2 double crochets, chain 2 and 2 double crochets into the same space. You see? And then we're skipping over to where this half double crochet is from the row below. And so yarn over, find this stitch here and make another half double crochet stitch. And then we hop over to the chain 2 space of the shell V-stitch here and make your next shell V-stitch. So 2 double crochets, chain 2, and another 2 double crochets in the same space. Okay, and then so we're going to repeat this all the way along. So here's your half double crochet from the row below, So make another half double crochet there into the stitch there, half double crochet, and then hop over to your next shell V stitch, put in another shell V stitch. The row below will now start to guide you as to what stitch you need to do next. Okay, so and there you can see your half double crochet. You put a half double crochet in the top of that stitch there. Okay, so repeat this all the way along and I'll meet you as we're approaching the end of this row. Okay, so here we are approaching the end of row 3. And you can see we've put in our last shell V stitch in here. And to finish the row, we're going to use the chain 2 space. So not these 2 legs of the shell V stitch, skip over those 2. And if you remember at the beginning of the row, we chained 2. So we're going to place a half double crochet into that chain 2 space. So yarn over, hook into that space, just straight into the space there, pull up a loop, yarn over and pull through all 3 loops. And that is how you finish this row and every row from now on, because row 3 is your row repeat. So I'll just quickly show you how to start and finish the row one more time. You can obviously rewind this video at any point to remind yourself how to do row 3, but I'll just quickly show you. So you always chain 2 at the beginning of every row. So you chain 2, turn your work and find your chain 2 space in your first shell V stitch here and place another shell V stitch in there. Which is 2 double crochet stitches. Chain 2 and then 2 double crochet stitches. Okay, and if you come along here, you'll see the next one is your half double crochet stitch. So yarn over and in the top of the one from the row below, put your hook in and make a half double crochet stitch. And then you'll see the next one is a shell V stitch. So place a shell V stitch into there. Okay, and you'll see the next the next one along is a half double crochet. So place your half double crochet in there. So repeat all the way along. So you're repeating row 3, and I'll meet you at the end of this row just to show you how to finish the row one more time. So again, we're approaching the end of the row, and we're going to put in our last shell V-stitch in here. And then at the end of the row and every row, you'll see this chain 2 space from the row below. So yarn over, skip over these 2 legs of your shell V stitch, straight into that space there, and make a half double crochet stitch. There we go. And that is how you're going to carry on repeating row 3. I'll just bring the camera out a little bit so you can see. So repeat row 3 over and over again until you have reached the depth that you want your shawl to be. Or if you're making one the same as that I've made, same size, make 50 rows in total. So go ahead now and make your shawl of 50 rows. Pause this video and I'll meet you when you've made your beautiful shawl, and I will show you how to do the border. So here we are, and here is my miniature version of this beautiful shawl, and you should have yours at the size, the full size that you want yours to be. And we're just finishing up with the last stitch here, which is my half double crochet into that chain 2 space. And we're going to finish off here, so yarn over and pull through some wool, enough so that you can weave in the ends. Snip that off and pull that through, and we've finished. Now you can, in fact, leave the shawl exactly like this. Perfectly fine, perfectly beautiful, just like this. But I decided, as this row here on the top ends with this gorgeous little pattern on the end, I decided to continue and put the same border around all of the sides. So we're going to go ahead now and do that, starting with this side onto the left, and we'll carry on around to the bottom, up to the right. So let's go ahead and do the border. So the first thing I'm going to do is take my yarn, make a slip knot, and twizzle the shawl around, ready to work on this side. So I'll bring the camera in, and I'm going to start in this stitch, in this gap here, put my hook through, grab your slip knot and pull it through, and then yarn over and chain one. So you've attached your yarn, and then in total there, chain two. So you've got 2 chains. And then we're going to just feel our way along. The sides are slightly more tricky because they are the sides of the rows. So I'm going to, into the next space, make my first shell V-stitch. So yarn over, go into that next space and make a double crochet, and your second double crochet, and then chain 2, and your next 2 double crochets into the same space, and then I'm going to place the half double crochet into this stitch here. Sorry, nearly did a single crochet. So yarn over, make a half double crochet stitch. So you've probably got to eyeball it a little bit along the side. So I feel like the next shell will go into this space here. So yarn over, make your next shell V-stitch. There we go. And the next one, I'm going to place the next half double crochet into this space here. I'm literally eyeballing this all the way down to try and get these shells as evenly spaced as possible. And the other thing you want to make sure of is you're going to end on a half double crochet into this space here. So you really want to try and make your last shell V-stitch just before it. So make your way down the sides of your shawl. So I'm going to place, so for example, there's a half double crochet, so the next one will be a shell. So if I put shell, half double crochet, shell, that should work out. So you might need to just count your way down the side to make sure you're ending on a half double crochet, not a shell. So the next one, I'm going to put the half double crochet in there. And then the shell will go into this one here. So that the very last stitch we can put in our half double crochet into that chain space. Now at the end of each side, I found that it was easier to finish off each side completely, which allowed a little bit of pattern in the corner. If you are used to putting borders around crochet projects, you may have a method where you can continuously go all the way around. This was just the method that I used when I was designing this. So that's one side done, and then I'm going to reattach using my slip knot and I'm going to attach the next stitch a little bit further up this time. And chain 2, and you can see this one's a little bit easier. You can see where you want to put your shell stitches because they're here. This is working along the bottom. So pop in your shell stitch, shell V-stitch, there we go. And then this, you see, this one's got an upside down shell V-stitch on the bottom. It looks, on the actual shawl, this, say for example, this side is not completely straight. Obviously, if you're not happy, undo and redo the V-stitch, shell V-stitches if you want to. On the larger shawl, I did do them much more symmetrically than I'm showing you here. This is just a little bit of a guide for you if you wanted to do this border. But take your time and get your border shell V-stitches nice and even. So as you can see here, you put another one in here. So that's how I did the border on this shawl. Carry on exactly the same way all the way along to this end. Finish off there, reattach your yarn, and then work all the way up the other side, finishing with a half double crochet stitch, probably just before this shelvy stitch here to keep the consistency of the corners, and I'll meet you there. So I've made my way around to the last corner, put in my last shelvy stitch, and I'm going to place my last half double crochet in here, to finish off, and then there we go. Let's bring that camera out. Oh, just bring the camera out for a second. And there we go. So go ahead now and get your darning needle and weave in all your ends. Make sure they're nice and tidy. But that is a little example of what the shawl looks like and how you do the with the border, but obviously you can do it with or without the border. And here is my finished shawl. It's folded up because it doesn't fit on the table. It's so large. As you can see, very, very beautiful. And these borders turned out lovely all the way along. Obviously looks a lot different and a lot better than that little sample, and I'm sure yours will turn out absolutely beautifully. Okay, I hope this video was helpful to you. Thanks for watching, and I will see you next time.